Now, does 2012 figure into this at all for you?
To be honest, I call 2012 a spiritual Y2K. I think it's a diversion.
Right.
And when I've seen people write about this in detail, it's very, very hard to see where this thing actually came from, that, you know, on this day in 2012 this is going to happen. Hold on a second. Where did that come from? Well, so much stuff that comes to be accepted truth only becomes accepted truth through repetition. Mm-hmm. Hey, I was reading a book on the manipulation of advertising. You know, you have these Corona bowls, and when you get a bottle of Corona, it's got a lime in, right? You know how that came about? Did that come about because, oh, some marketing man, hey, that would be a great idea, or this, that, and the other? No, no. It was in a bar, and a guy had a Corona, and he said to the barman, give me a piece of lime. He said, I'm going to put lime in the top. He says, I bet you that by the end of the night, someone else will order a Corona and ask for lime in the top. Which they did. He won his bet. And then, now, anywhere you go, Corona, lime in the top. No one knows where that came from. It's just repetition, repetition, repetition. And so much of this happens. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you anything. You kind of believe what you believe. I am suggesting that 2012 is the lime in the Corona bowl. Right? It's repetition, repetition, repetition. By 2012, this vibrational change will be 3 years in our version of time further ahead. So yes, it's going to be imposing itself more in people's awareness at that time. But I don't see 2012 any different to 2011 or 2013 in the sense that that's a special year. I don't see that. It's just my view. And the point is, Ron, it doesn't matter whether it is or it isn't, except I and other people that run similar websites I know are getting people saying to them, well, what's the point in doing anything, because it's all going to change in 2012 anyway. Right, which is what they want, a holding position. Right. You do nothing, mate, for the next 3 years, and then we can push our stuff on unmolested, okay? You wait for 2012. It's going to be fine. It's all going to change then. Oh, please. Oh, please. Right? What the conspiracy has done, because it understands how all this works, it has pulled people's sense of reality into mind. So they become mind-dominated and detached from an awareness of what they really are, which is consciousness. They lose, they are basically given, not basically, they are given, a false self-identity. So if you hold that, or open again to the understanding that you are infinite consciousness, all possibility, having an experience, then you are going to interrelate with this world in a very, very different way. Because you know it's an experience. You know you're infinite consciousness. You're all-powerful. You're all possibility. You try controlling 6.5 billion people in that awareness state. Forget it, mate. You have to pull them into myopia. You have to pull them into a sense of limitation, into a sense of I can't, into a sense of little me, and you do that by pulling them into mind. And this is how it works. Once you do that, of course, when people are born into the world, the programming starts immediately. The parents who've been programmed then program their children, overwhelmingly not through malevolence, but they think they're doing the best for their kids because that's what they're programmed to think. You then go through school where you are programmed with a certain sense of reality and limitation and all the rest of it. You go through college and university. All your peers who've gone through the same system, they're telling you the same thing. It's like the whole thing, you know, if you're born to loving parents who tell you 2 and 2 equals 5, and then you go through kindergarten and school and all the rest of it, and universities, and the media are telling you, and your peers are all telling you that 2 and 2 equals 5. You go through your entire life believing 2 and 2 equals 5, but it still goes on equaling 4. But you're not living your life on that basis. You're living on the fact that it's 5. In other words, you're living your life in manufactured ignorance. And manufactured ignorance is a doddle to control compared with awareness of the truth of the situation. Disconnect people from the awareness that they are consciousness. Pull them into mind, which operates overwhelmingly through what? Through the 5 senses. This is what it does. You isolate them in mind, and you tell them self-awareness alone means they're conscious, not true. And then, when you're in that state, where do you look for an understanding and a fix on who you are, where you are, and what's going on in the world? You're not going there anymore, because you've been shut off from that. You're here. Where are you going to look? The only way you can look, out through the 5 senses, right? Now, the people that have structured society to disconnect you from the infinite consciousness or the awareness that that's what you are, also control the information coming in through the 5 senses, through the education system, through the media, etc. So what they've done, they isolate you into mind, which should just be a conduit, and then they program that fragment of mind, if you like, with the reality that suits the agenda. You have no power, you're just little you can't change anything. And when you open your mind, I mean, all these things that are profound truths, when you open your mind, which is on one level opening your auric field, to reconnect to the higher levels of self beyond mind, then what you're doing is you're moving your point of observation. And when you do that, then the world looks very different. Now you can see the connections. Now you can see what's going on in a way that couldn't. And that's why the prime foundation of this entire conspiracy is holding people in mind and stopping them becoming conscious.